Hello everyone, this is Julie Latham. So, from what I've gathered, most people watching my videos are college students. And as a college student, I know we go through various struggles throughout our life of education. One in particular I want to discuss. The issue of standardized testing. You see, we all have to do standardized testing, such as the SAT and other various tests like that. And we have to struggle with it, or we do struggle with it, because it is a very stressful thing. And it is necessary for us to go to college and learn more so we can move forward in our careers. These tests are a huge form of stress for all of us, and we just wish they would go away. Well, thinking on this topic, I decided to do some research into the flaws and issues of these tests and why they should be completely gotten rid of. There are several out there, and I'm going to explain them all to y'all. Some of the first set of issues you can find in an article by Mr. Christian Gallardo, which is titled, Why We Should Get Rid of Standardized Testing. He explains several reasons, such as the tests don't actually explain what we do wrong. What I mean by this is it doesn't explain the issues that we have with the tests, like what we get wrong or any of that. So we end up not knowing how to correct ourselves and end up making the same mistakes over and over again. Another issue he brings up is that it makes it so the education we get beforehand is only focused on a test. It makes it so we don't learn anything else, which can make things later on difficult. And finally, one last thing he mentions is the psychological effect on us. Due to all the stress it causes, it can cause psychological harm on us and impact us later on in life and make it more difficult for us to do various things in school. These are only the first set of issues. There are a lot more. Another set of issues, which is mentioned by Miss Yahya Ibrahimi, sorry if I pronounced that name wrong, in an article titled "Standardized Tests Do Not Capture Student Skills." They mention that the tests don't show any other skills other than test taking. What they mean by this is that it only shows the skills that we have in test taking. It doesn't show any of our other academic skills. So basically making it only that they know that people know that we're good at taking tests instead of like good at learning or good at writing. They also mentioned that, as mentioned previously, they cause a lot of stress, which can be bad for our health and impact us later on. And the last fact that they mention is that it's not an accurate portrayal of the student's performance. As kind of mentioned previously, the tests only kind of measure our ability to take tests. It doesn't really show our other skills, such as our ability to write or maybe our ability to problem solve. It only talks about the test. And finally, one last set of problems I have to mention, which is mentioned in two separate articles. One written by soyonline.american.edu and standardizedtestprocon.org. There weren't any authors mentioned, so I'm mentioning the websites. The titles of these documents are called Effects of Standardized Testing on Students and Teachers, Benefits and Challenges, and Do Standardized Tests Improve Education in America? They mention that they don't account for students who learn a different way. What I mean by this is those who learn a different way, like maybe those who prefer writing things instead of just answering multiple choice questions, or those who may be a bit learning disabled or stuff like that. Another factor they mention is that it's not a good way to evaluate teachers. See, the results of these tests are kind of shown as ways to evaluate a teacher's teaching abilities, which is not a good way to do it because, as mentioned earlier, it only covers the only information that we learn is the information covered by the test. This doesn't show the teacher's actual ability to teach other things, only about the test. And one final factor they mentioned, and this was mentioned and I have to bring this up, is that the tests are highly biased. Biased against those who I mentioned this earlier, but with like learning disabilities, and also those with who just come from different backgrounds, such as those who are in poor neighborhoods and all that. But yeah, as you can see, these tests are severely flawed and cause a lot of issues, so they should just be plain gotten rid of. And honestly, if they were gotten rid of, it could be complete relief for everyone, because we wouldn't have to worry about its impact on our lives. We would only have to worry about the stuff we learn in school, which, honestly, if the tests were gone, we'd get to learn more varied things. So, I'm telling y'all that if you ever get the chance to, like, write a letter to the government, tell them to completely ban the standardized tests, so we can finally be free of these awful tests and be able just to learn what we need to. That's all I have to say. As mentioned earlier, my name is Julie Latham. I hope you have a good weekend, and goodbye.